Yeah, that's why I'm here. Matt!
Good evening, I'm Theodore Bouloukos, and we're here in New York at Studio 814 with Laurent Grasso, who's a French and Italian artist who lives in New York City.
Yeah.
Who makes these very site-specific videos that sort of subvert the eye a bit with their recreation of events that may or may not be actually happening. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, they are totally imaginary phenomena.
And there are two here. The first is it's sort of a dissemination of pollen that isn't actually pollen,
yeah.
From a tower in Berlin. Yeah. And how is it that you create these sorts of things? I mean, do you get on top of the tower and start throwing feathers?
No, actually, I was in Madrid and I saw in spring a very big cloud of pollen in the street with the sun behind.
Okay.
And I just get that, and a few months after, I had to prepare an exhibition, and I start to think about it and to use what I saw and to exaggerate this phenomena, to make it like such big than a city, you know, to make it at the size of a city.
Right, because we wouldn't be able really to see pollen without it being magnified somehow under a microscope, right?
Yeah, usually it's really small, so I decided to make this big cloud, and it's like the invasion of this cloud of pollen in the city of Berlin, and the pollen is attracted by all the electricity sources and all the like magnetic and invisible wave source, like the TV tower, the tramway line, the wire.
Why Berlin?
I like the situation in terms of architecture of Berlin. I think the East architecture is for me really interesting. I like also to deal with the architecture who have a kind of relationship with the power and with the politic. Like when something creates an aesthetic, you know. So for me, the architecture, in that sense, the architecture of Berlin is really strong because it's just not a building; it's also an history. And
yes, of course. Would it be a trade secret to let us in on how you created or how you simulated this magnified pollen?
No, what I like is to mix different layer of different reality. So I mixed real picture with this layer of animation.
So it's superimposed?
Yeah, exactly. It's not exactly superimposed because the pollen has his own life. He make his motion related to the structure of the building and the things.
Right.
The both pieces here are connected to the idea of electricity.
Okay.
So this pollen is attracted by all these sources of electricity, of magnetic waves, of invisible waves.
Why electricity?
What I like is to work with rumors around contemporary mythology. It's actually connected with a military base in Alaska called HAARP, High Frequencies Auroral Research Program. It's a field of antenna, and they send electricity in the atmosphere to make tests, and you know, just to try to understand what could be possible. They try to control communication, but what I like, it's all the story around this military.
Right, but how did that relate to East Germany?
So, this cloud of pollen, for me, could be like a new kind of phenomena generated by this kind of military installation.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And
so you read about this base in Alaska?
Yeah.
Where they were doing experiments?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's connected. This base work with a theory of searcher in electricity called Tesla. a very important...
like the inventor?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
So the other video is also connected to this idea of electricity because it's a fake aurora borealis.
Okay.
And an aurora borealis...
We should stop to say that there are two video installations here. One relating to the pollen and the other to the aurora borealis.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the inverse of the cloud of pollen that I call Polair, 1619 is not shot somewhere. It's completely generated by computer. So it represents an aurora borealis done by computer. What interests me is when you see a true aurora borealis, it looks already fake. It looks artificial from the beginning. HAARP, High Frequency Auroral Research Program. In this program, they use the aurora borealis as a field of experimentation. And so for me, this aurora borealis is something beautiful, but same time it could be a weapon. But it's fiction. I make fiction, but same time it mixes reality and remorse. You can find a lot of story in the web about HAARP. For example, HAARP could change the climate from, by distance, or HAARP could change the mind of people or the behavior of people by distance, just sending electricity. What interests me is to work sometimes with unreal things like what looks real, or to work with real things who look totally fake.
And how did you discover this place in Alaska?
Because I did a lot of pieces connected with that kind of story. I'm always doing research on certain subjects, like invisible waves, like contemporary mythology.
Now, a lot of your work is done in non-traditional spaces too. Why is that?
I like to control the environment.
Okay.
I like to invent some situation, to create some situation. For example, here you are in the street and you go by this elevator and you arrive in a very big space with a strange video, with strange phenomena, with this neon light at the beginning of the exhibition. So you are out of the reality. It's impossible to find. Right. It's a secret place.
Right.
So I like that, because the video are connected with secret story, with
telling secrets.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
it makes sense, to organize this environment.
That's someplace mythological.
Yeah.
That isn't real.
To control even the way.
Even the physical surrounding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much for your question.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much. Good night.